You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. Yeah, I wasn't on, I think, yesterday. I don't know if I was not on the day before. I thought I was. I can't remember now. I'm trying to fight this cold a little bit I have. And I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not. I'm trying to fight it without going to the doctor. I'm not sure if I still want to go or not. Yeah, it's Thursday, February 4th. Actually, I did find a lot of stories. They always pile up after a day, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be on. Probably, maybe tomorrow, but Saturday I'm going to Jersey. Yeah, one thing I have to be honest with you about, I'm going to try to talk to the people at the comic book store, Jay and Silent Bob's, but one thing I should have taken into consideration, I kind of ignored it because I'm not a big person on sports. I hate sports, actually. I can't stand any type of sport at all. It's just never been my cup of tea. That I was going to try to do it even on Sunday or, after they close. And it was like, wait a minute, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Most people, even who aren't in the sports, are going to be watching the games for the game itself and some other things. So that could be actually a work against me. I thought it was the weekend of my birthday. This Sunday actually is my birthday, and it just so happens to be on Super Bowl Sunday, which, it changes every year what date, the day your birthday falls on. Mine just so happens to fall on a Super Bowl day, so that'll actually work against me. So I'll just take my chances and pray to God that if I get the nerve up to talk to these people, that they actually will reciprocate and actually let me do a show. A couple things. I was actually really wanting to buy tickets today because they went on sale for pre-order of New Order, and a band I used to listen to when I was much younger. But unfortunately, I just ran into some financial difficulties, so I may actually be holding out. The tickets are general admission. I can buy them anytime. I don't think they're going to sell out that quickly. And it's at some place called the Tower Theater. It's not too far from my house, so it's not too bad. But one of my main reasons for wanting to do a show, and it was actually very disturbing. I have my mic over top of my monitor, so it makes it actually difficult to see. So let me see if I can kind of lean this down and still get, I just did that. So now I can see. I just don't want to change my levels. Anyway, yeah, it was this one story that I found, and it was really disturbing. I thought I'd get more support than some woman who commented on it. That's on my friends, which really disappointed me in this person. And actually, I found it very offensive. But the story I posted was, well, let me read the story first, actually. It was on ReaganCoalition.com, and it was titled, "A 15-year-old white girl was waiting for a taxi when a Muslim did this to her because." And basically what happened is he attacked her. He broke a bottle and stuck it in her eye, so she's like going to be blind for the rest of her life. A girl, just 15 years old, minding her own business. So it says Nicole Zanlith, a Danish citizen, was waiting for a taxi in the Spanish town of Marbella, and then a group of North African Muslim immigrants attacked her for the fun of it. That was the main reason. And it said they slashed her face with a broken vodka bottle, causing permanent blindness in her one eye. Violence against European women by Muslim immigrants is exploding at unbelievable rates, and it's easy to say why the perps targeted her. She was beautiful and fair-skinned. She was a really cute little young girl. So the point was, though, I put that up, and like a matter of minutes later, this it was a woman. She's from the U.S. She responded by saying, "Why is this so important?" with a question mark. Like she was being serious. Like I guess she was tired of me posting this stuff, or at least that one. And I mean, I looked at it, was like, I was so angry last night. I was ready to like just put my fist through a wall, because I just can't believe people are that ignorant. I mean, a young girl who's, mind her own business in her own country gets attacked by these migrants, and now she's going to be permanently blind for minding her own business. So, I mean, obviously and I actually responded to a couple of people about this. I thought that were friends, and they just never even bothered to respond back. And they weren't females, they were male friends. But it just goes to show you, people just really don't care. And the way I look at it, you just wait and see when it comes down, when push comes to shove, and you're the person or who's being victimized. I'm just gonna have to say the same thing. I'm just gonna have to turn the other cheek and just pretend I didn't hear anything and see how much they like it. Because I will point in their face. I'll say, well, listen, you're the one who, when I bring these matters up, you don't want to hear about it. It's not that important. And then all of a sudden, it's important because now it's happening to me. And it actually around my area, like within walking distance or a 10-minute driving distance from my house, the amount of violent, not even with migrants, just the violent level has just been like had escalated so high at this point. It's not even, you can't help but talk about it. And people say I talk about it too much. It's like, if like you're like literally the amount of violence in your area is so high that you're like literally it's like breathing air. I mean, it's something you do and it's all around you and you just can't avoid it. Again, like breathing air. That's how bad it's gotten, and you're supposed to ignore it. So either people are very stupid or just very self-centered, which I think they're actually both at this point. I've come to that conclusion. Anyway, before I go any further with that, 'cause I have a story up. Couple obviously different stories. I'm continue to watch. I don't know how I've been able to do it. Well, I know why I haven't been able to do it. I've had the time to do it right now. Enjoy trying to get myself back to my job, but enjoying the time off and just taking advantage of it by staying within, my arm's length of, where I have to be. But I was watching Glee. I've actually got towards halfway through the 4th season now. I think after the 4th, the 5th are just kind of fly. And the 6th season was cut short. They canceled it halfway through. But it kind of makes me question. I mean, I know some actors begin to like believe, I guess, the best way to put it, they kind of take seriously the characters they play. I mean, that's the problem about acting, I think, sometimes. And a lot of actors, I think, they must identify themselves with the characters they play. Like, they become, in real life, the characters they represent. And I kind of, I might have heard that before, but that's just my, assumption of what I've seen on Glee with the different people who play these characters and then see them in real life and how they've, their life became like the character they played. Like, for instance, there was the main characters like this Flynn and Rachel, these two characters, and you see the transition on the way these characters' personalities change. I mean, one goes one direction, one goes the other. And on the show, these two characters were in a relationship, but in real life, they also had a serious relationship in real life. So they literally were, seeing each other, not just on set, but off set as well. And now in the show, the problem with that is on the show, though, and I've seen that happens with when I used to watch Vampire Diaries. There was the actors that were like the people who, I guess the best way to put it, who hooked up on the show did it also in real life, and it seems like that's the case most of the time. Like they actually do become emotionally involved with each other. Well, I know on the show this character Flynn was supposed to marry this character of Rachel, and then it ended up that, you know, he kind of like said, I need to let you go to pursue your college degree. And like they lived in Ohio and she wanted to go to New York, but she wanted to take him with her, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to hold off on the marriage. I think I'm holding you back. And, but then the characters went different directions. She ended up like losing interest, like she was infatuated, this character of Rachel with Flynn, that she couldn't let him go. And he says, I have to let you go. You got to go to New York and pursue your dreams. And the first thing she does is hook up with a different guy, even though she was engaged to this guy, Flynn. Now, I was just on the show. And then you see the emotional turmoil on the show. Well, it was funny. Why am I saying all this stuff? It makes no sense. Why do we need to hear all this? Well, in real life, there were similarities, I guess. You know, obviously they were emotionally involved in a relationship offset. But it wasn't much long after that this actor who played Finn, I can't remember his name now, Corey something, was found dead when he was actually visited his home of Canada. I'm actually doing it now. I can't remember his name at all. No, it's like Corey Moneth or whatever. Really good entertainer, very good actor. He transitioned, you know, with the show, like his character changed, did like a 180 from where he started out. And now they're saying it was accidental, but I'm kind of wondering again if it was just, you know, certain things that happen on set actually happened off set as well, like the relationship with these people. Maybe they did take different directions and it was hard on him. But they said he died over a drug overdose mixed with alcohol or something. Yeah, I mean, I know the character who played Rachel was this Leah Michelle. She was definitely deeply upset about it. His passing away, because he was very young. He was only 31. But, yeah, I just kind of question, okay, you know, maybe these relationships, like people lose themselves in the characters they play, and then they actually live their lives as the characters in their real life. And that's what I'm kind of questioning, because with the turmoil that came off on this show, must affected their relationship in real life. Now, Leah Michelle was like, I think she's like from New York anyway. I can't remember. I gotta look her up. Yeah, she was actually originally from the Bronx. It says New York City. She's very short. She's only 5'3". But this Corey Moneth, he's like originally he's from Canada. It looks like Calgary, Canada, but he died actually in Vancouver, Canada, which is actually, Vancouver is like the Hollywood of Canada. That's their equivalent of Hollywood, and it's actually very nice, because a lot of films that are actually Hollywood shot are for a lower budget, and the best scenery, they are actually shot in Vancouver. So it just makes me question, though, like, you know, with that. And the thing that really just kind of nailed that story of me thinking that way, or nailed it shut for me, just the way I thinking about the show and other people who are, you know, Hollywood celebrities, was because there was another character on Glee who also got in trouble. He played this character named Puckerman, and I'm looking him up now. And he's like a great actor, good-looking guy and everything like that. But he got in trouble for child porn. Now, I don't even know his real name. I'm trying to look for that now. He's a decent-looking guy. And all these actors, I actually like the original ones and the original three seasons more than anybody else. Yeah, I know. I've seen his name in the credits. His last name's Salin. He actually, there was one I was watching, Mark Salin played Puckerman. He looks like he's got his, stuff together, his crap together, but he got caught for a bunch of child porn. Now, his character was, sleeping with, the character was sleeping with anybody. And the funny thing was, it drove it again, like, do these characters live their character offset? Because this guy Mark, actually, on the one episode, he, the character he played requested him. He went back to high school after he graduated because he has a half brother that's going to, as a new character on the fourth season of Glee. He came back to visit his brother and ends up hooking up with, wow, I don't know if that's for real or not. Mark Salin shows him in an Air Force uniform, so I don't know if that's really him for real or not. That's pretty impressive if it was. But yeah, the one episode requests him to hook up with like a new person in Glee who's supposed to be like I guess she's obnoxious. She was like a cheerleader on the show, a little blonde hair girl who's like basically like a freshman or something like that. And his character hooks up and, basically they don't show it, but he ends up having sex with her. So, again, here's the same man who, the character he plays was supposed to be, not only very promiscuous, but he also, I can't even think of the right word, he would hook up with, like, even girls that were underage, the character. So, again, I'm just, like, questioning, okay, do these people, like, start, like, losing themselves and become these characters offset? I mean, you got one man who commits suicide, or, well, they said it was an accidental death. But to me, it sounds like it was a kind of like almost an unintentional, maybe. I don't know. Well, that would be unintentional. Almost, I wouldn't say intentional, that he almost did try to commit suicide. And then you got the other man who's up on child porn, pornography, what do you call it? Charges. So I'm just wondering again, when you do stuff like play different characters, it's very easy, I think, for people to get lost. And actually, the way to prove that, actually, I just remember that hearing about it because I went during the Halloween month in October. The man Bela Lugosi, who used to play Dracula, he was well known for playing Dracula back when that was the thing. The original, well, not the original Dracula, but he was the one most well known. That he actually believed that he was Count Dracula after a while. And I heard he was actually born in his, like, he would wear his cape off set, or he was actually requested, whatever, to be born in his cape. And, because he was just known, he considered himself actually Dracula. Not that he probably attacked people, but he just thought he was the Count. Bela Lugosi. And let me see if I can find him. And he also had a bad alcohol problem, too, because just because the stress that he was under from playing that character. Yeah, he said he was in the original film from 1931, but there was a silent film before that. But yeah, that character really, not only it haunted him for the rest of his, his life, but he also became like the character in some ways, and in other ways he became very emotionally torn apart. So certain characters these actors play actually come back to haunt them, I guess. So I don't know. I just wanted to mention that. There was one story I actually had taken down. I have to relook for it now. But, I wanted to kind of get a little bit of a lighter story in there first before I do any of my other ones. We're actually looking, by the way, probably for, I would say, we're probably less than about a month away until, a lot of these movies are going to be hitting. One especially is the Batman versus Superman, which I'm definitely looking forward to it, and the Suicide Squad in August, which would be really nice. Well, by the time Suicide Squad comes out, I'll be back on a normal schedule of work, I hope. But yeah, there was a story a friend had sent me, and could try to look for it now as I'm talking. Fortunately, it's really buried too. Some of the stories I'll probably going to be highlighting a little later on when I get around to it is some disturbing stuff about from the Daily Mail, some found or released footage of Gaddafi right before he got executed. It was and certain things. These people were really horrible people, but the way the repressed people react is horrible. One about a grocery store worker who just died yesterday, a woman at her job. Industrial accident at a grocery market. Going to touch on, because I got to look for the date, Doom. The new Doom will be coming out, I guess, by next month. Yeah, next month. Held at gunpoint, armed robbery at a gas station right down the road from where I live. A story kind of almost on neo-Nazis on the uprise because they're tired about this thing going on with these migrants. I got a story I'll read on this new reality thing to show, I guess, I look like from England, where they just give these people on welfare their entire income, what they would get for the year as one lump sum in cash, just to see how they would, make out. So, and some other stories too, some very weird stories, some kind of depressing stories and some enlightened ones, but, I'll get to those. I am still digging. Even a story, which I'll have to glance at that, where this lady got caught and videotaped masturbating on the beach. So it's no joke with that one. Alrighty, yeah, I'm actually finding stories. The one I shut down was actually from a friend from mandatory.com, where it says British talk show host uses tape measure to humiliate 3 men with micro penises. Yeah, that was definitely from my friend Todd. It says, I'm sure these poor bastards were paid a crap ton of money for appearing on the show. According to the Mirror, these are the bravest men in the country, appear on a British talk show in the morning time last week to discuss their baby dicks. It's no joke, and it's actually showing a little segment of it. It was on mandatory.com. I'd probably be one of those people that could end up on that show. So, yeah, I mean, it's just funny. And unfortunately, it's not funny, but people would probably, those guys would probably get a lot of ridicule for that, too. I mean, you'd think they'd get pity, but I hate to say it depends. I would think a woman with small breasts would probably get a lot more pity than a man with a small penis. I think her get a lot more ridicule. That's just my personal opinion, too, obviously. This was pretty cool, actually. I found this one. It was from popsugar.com. And this girl, she made herself up to look like Grumpy Cat, just basically with makeup, though. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of a lighthearted story. Not even a story, just pictures, because I just popped it open. I thought there was a story attached to it, too. I thought there was. But it says the Grumpy Cat costume is for those who are in love with the world's grumpiest mime. And basically, you know what, though? I like that cat because the woman who cleaned my teeth, this dentist girl, she was mentioning, because I said I like Lee, was the cat that's like overweight. That cat is so freaking funny. The character of Brittany really brings to life. I got a story on Brittany, too, actually, from Glee, because that actress actually was discovered on one of these reality shows. I never knew that, like quite a ways back. She's like 33 now, I think, or 31 years old. So basically when she started doing a show, she was probably in her mid-20s, the girl who played Brittany. But yeah, she got discovered on the reality show. But the characters has a cat. Her character of Brittany has this cat. And I forget, because that's the cat's real name, too. Let me see if I can just put in Brittany's cat, because it'll probably just come right up. No. Yes, actually it did. Lord Tuberton. I think it's just hilarious. I love that cat. And Brittany, I love her character. It kind of was obvious a little bit. They kept her for an extra year because they made the character so stupid. They made it that she failed her senior year and she had to repeat it again. So, and it's funny because the character, I mean, I'm sure the actress, obviously she's playing a character, and she's got a really good voice too. She can sing really well. But the character that she plays, Brittany, actually does her essay papers, and she hands in her test reports with crayons. She does all her work with crayons. It's like, I'm surprised nobody has ever picked up on that and kind of gone with that, because I'm sure there'd be a lot of pissed off teachers, but it's still kind of funny too at the same time. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I had this the other day, but it's been like surfacing a lot the last day or so about this guy. He looks like Jesus Christ, basically. I'm sorry. But he does. He looks like the Messiah. But it says man named Bezo Dudu Zapiti Bop 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 arrested for assault. And it was this particular one was on Olympia, Washington, and it says Fox 13. A man whose legal name is, again, what I just mentioned. It's just so long to mention. Arrested over the weekend after officials say he assaulted a state college police officer and a deputy in Washington. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, he just looks like, again, unfortunately, he looks like Christ. Not to put down our holy Savior, but it just looks a lot like him. Anyway, there was a story yesterday. My parents had hit the papers today, but it was actually up last night online, where this taxi car gets stuck on the rails and it actually gets smashed up. My mother read the story in the paper. She said actually the guy, he got it stuck and he was able to get out of the car, so nobody got hurt. I don't think. I hope not. It was in Conshohocken. SEPTA police investigate a crash of train into taxi. Let me take a swallow. Basically, it says Conshohocken, the service to SEPTA, Manioc, and Norristown regional rails line was suspended more than 2 hours Wednesday morning after the train hit the taxi in the area of Washington and Cherry Street around 6:20 a.m. Norristown-bound train traveling west in Spring Mill and Cunchy stations collided with a disabled main line cab on the tracks of Cherry Hill Street crossing. It says the taxi driver did call 911, was told to get out of the vehicle, which she did, but it was insignificant time for the train to avoid the crash. So thank God she didn't get hurt. Two of the 55 passengers aboard the train suffered minor injuries and were transported to the area hospital. That's the thing, when those trains pick up momentum, and this taxi got stuck in the middle of the railroads, probably not in any designated area where the train would slow down. You're going to, they can't help it, And it's unfortunate for both parties, the train and the taxi, that happened. But at least, again, nobody got seriously hurt, so that's the important thing. That's my opinion again, I guess. Sorry, somebody had from a club we had started. My one friend had started years ago on the Great Train Story, which doesn't exist anymore. Somebody was commenting about something. I don't think it was that train story, though, believe it or not, because ironically, it just went up, and I just was mentioning that. Yeah, so there was a story from the morning call, so these are where it's going to go downhill probably for a while. Telling you what's on my plate for today. Convicted killer charged with fighting guards in Lehigh County Jail. It was in Allentown weeks before he was sentenced for killing a man outside the West Bethlehem strip club. Ulysses Slime Rodriguez, it actually says Slime in parentheses, tried to choke a Lehigh County jail guard as he was being escorted to the infirmary, according to the court record. So Rodriguez, 23, has been a constant problem for prison guards and staff authorities, and during his trial for shooting to death of Tyree Wimbley, he's been written up for at least 16 times for misconduct in his 2 years at the jail, and was previously charged with grabbing a nurse's breast. So the man is just like a real troublemaker. I don't know what you do with people like that. You either put them in solitary confinement indefinitely, or you basically have to put that man down. I mean, it sounds like a hard thing to say, but this man is uncontrollable. Obviously, he was up for killing somebody at his, outside of a strip club, like I said, and then he was attempted murder in jail, and he's had 16 counts, and then he groped or grabbed a woman's breast, a nurse at the jail that he's correctional facility he's in. So he is definitely a troublemaker. Yeah, it's funny. I'm surprised this lady didn't comment. The one who was very inappropriate in her comment did not comment on this one. Even though I was very disappointed on this one woman who's a friend on my friend's thing on Facebook, I will spare her the consideration. I will not, reveal her name. I mean, yeah, you could easily look it up, and I hope people do. I mean, not to be, no offense, but she deserves some type of retaliation for what she said on that one story that I had posted, and with her response, like, so why is this so important? Yeah, that was just like a jab to the back of my head. I mean, it really, I've never been so offended in my life. So, yeah, that's a different story, though. But, yeah, there was one I think I tried to read this the other day, and I didn't have much success, so. But it was viralsurvival.com, media blackout and Muslim refugee was caught doing this to an American woman. It was basically trying to rape her. And, again, it's been just so many cases. You can't even just turn the cheek anymore. I mean, it's impossible to do so. Yeah, according to recent reports, Muslim and migrant of North Dakota, that North Dakota is our home, our country, captured a local woman and raped her while chanting Allahu Akbar or whatever. Now the criminal is refusing to appear in court. I think I did read that the other day, so sorry if I'm rereading something I might have mentioned, which I'm sure I screwed up even then. But yeah, I mean, North Dakota, come on. And it was a Muslim who was, I did watch the video. I do remember that now. And he has a sister, and she said, well, he's got some mental problems. You should let, he can't defend himself. It's like the man he's a Muslim, and they're supposed to be a peaceful race, and he got caught trying to rape a woman. And you're trying to defend the man that he wasn't, in his right mind when he was doing that. It's like, I think he knew what he was doing. I really do. So many stories I can't remember if I did read them. So again, I apologize because this looks familiar. But I have one up called from American News. This attacker goes after a 13-year-old girl. She makes him pay the price. I think I did read this the other day. Some quick thinking about on a part of a 13-year-old in Michigan. This Michigan girl, which just may have saved her life. She was basically walking to her grandmother's house, no puns intended, in the city of Pontiac when she was approached by a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt. See, that's the other thing. You're not supposed to find it suspicious when you see people with hoodies on their heads, even when they're driving. You should just turn the other cheek and not do a thing about it. But it states that some man yelled at me, meaning the girl. He was like, hey, sheesh. She told the news station. I turned around. Yeah, basically just he said, hey. She turned around and he started speed walking. And then he ran behind her and pulled her back into the bushes. So this girl was minding her own business. And this person with a hooded sweatshirt attacked her, a 13-year-old. The girl was not named in the report, but the man grabbed her arm and tried to pull her back off the sidewalk into like these bushes. She said she was scared. She just, as he pushed, basically pulled her into the bushes. But it said that, I remember this one. Yeah, the teen told WJBK, that was the station who reported this, that the girl she kicked the man at least 3 times in the groin. After the third kick, the man let the girl's arm go, and he fell to the ground, and she was able to get away. So, so I'm going to do one of these skip things, and I hope it doesn't make it. But yeah, there's too many stories like this. Child rape charges. Some get dismissed, other ones don't. You got to forgive Muslims because they don't know any better kind of deal. That's another set of stories that I always see. But I'm cutting all the way down because I hope this is okay. In January, 2 black men in a light blue minivan were said to have tried to abduct 2 children as they were walking home from a school about a block from where the most recent incident had occurred. The children in that one were an 11-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy, told Oakland County authorities. The van pulled up behind them. The other one was on foot. This one was actually in a van. It said, in a quote, hurry and grab them, one of the men said, according to information the children gave to the investigators. So this is like an ongoing incident with, I guess, at least, because it said initially this is pretty much in Michigan. I have a brother his wife actually was originally from Michigan, so I don't know if she's familiar with that area. WXYZ, which it actually says, news reported at the time the children ran to a nearby community center where employees took them inside and called the police. The suspects who were said to be wearing masks were never caught. So that's what are kind of, I guess, looping this in. That it could be the same person, I guess. The teen in the most recent incident said she didn't get a good look at the attacker's face, but she did describe him as a black man, about 5'9", and weighed about probably 180 pounds. That's pretty thin for somebody that tall. So it was a tall, skinny guy. And he was wearing black pants and a black hooded sweatshirt, she said. So they're kind of speculating it could be the same person that had tried to attack these younger children previously. Ooh, my favorite word. I don't even know why I put this up, but I have to read it now just because of what it says. Some of the Daily Mail. It actually said the title is "What a Farce." I love that word. PM's EU deal unravels as it emerges. Migrants from some countries will get higher child benefits than UK families. Yeah, okay, I did put that up deliberately, that story. I didn't realize they were going to use the word farce, though. That's pretty interesting, though. Yeah, because it caught my attention about, the migrants are getting better benefits and higher pay than people that actually live in the country. There's something wrong with that, this being said. So the bullet points are David Cameron's EU deal is to set to allow migrants with children overseas to be paid British child benefits at the rates in line with the local cost of living. So, but their benefits are actually higher than people who actually live in the UK. Falls well short of manifesto pledge to stop child benefits being sent abroad. I'm sorry, that was a bullet point. And there's one last one. For more of Cameron's EU reform visits. So, I botched that up. But the point is, you're going to get a lot of angry people because here, people who live in that country with their children, the children of the UK that are native to that country are getting far less benefits or money than these migrant children. And that just being said alone is just kind of wrong. But, whatever. I can't blame these individual children. They're not the ones, they're the victims. But I do blame that country for allowing these migrants into their country. Of course, I can say the same thing for the U.S. too, because the U.S. is doing the same thing. They overlook Native Americans, and then they just fall all over these, people that are illegally in our country or these migrants by giving them everything, hand it to them on a silver spoon. And they obviously, many of the times, these people don't appreciate what they're getting given to them for free. And that the really scary thing in our country is we're the ones paying for it through our taxes. So, our taxes are increasingly going up. The same thing with our health benefits. They're costing much more when they were supposed to cost less with this Obamacare. But we're the ones being victimized. And it's not being, it's being overlooked. Anyway, I heard this on Rush today, so I got the proper story. I'm glad I actually listened from yesterday, actually. But this is on ReaganCoalition.com because this has been getting a lot of attacks. A lot of people on our, it's kind of disappointed me that, our own party is attacking their own, we're attacking our own candidates. But this one was on Ben Carson blames Ted Cruz for his Iowa loss, then makes a charge that has people stunned. So I feel bad for Ben Carson because I like all these guys. But he was accusing Ted Cruz, and then there was something said that they said Ted Cruz had, basically, the best way I can put it is like desecrated almost Ben Carson's, ability to get more votes by saying, well, Ben Carson dropped out of the race. And, when I was listening to Rush today, there was different things he was mentioning about that. That kind of made me feel a little different because I really wanted to see Ted Cruz. If that was true, that would be one thing I didn't like. But then, if I heard it correctly, I heard on Rush today that the one who did it was Rudio, I think, who actually, one of his party members said that. It wasn't even from Cruz's side who said that, oh, well, Ben Carson's dropping out of the race. Let me see if I can find that. Sorry about that. I'm just hoping that my gibberish makes enough sense to fix it. Yeah, it says, was it Marco Rubio guilty of the Ben Carson dropout? So, yeah, that was speculated that it was, but who got in trouble for that because he got, he came out on top in the Iowa, the caucus was one person I actually was hoping, I have two people I'll vote for. I'll vote for any of them, but was Cruz. So Ted Cruz got thrown under the bus that he was the one who apparently made this accusation, and it's still just sticking with him because he's on top right now of making this accusation that Ben Carson was going to drop out of the race. Now, one person did drop out, as what I heard yesterday, and I can't remember who. I know if I seen it, I would be able to know. He decided, because he ran before. Ron Paul, I think. Was it Ron Paul? I can't remember. I know if I heard it, I could get it. Maybe it's not Ron Paul. It was something like that. So anyway, it's not that important. But, yeah, it says, again, was it it's Marco Rubio. It wasn't even Marco Rubio. It was somebody on his thing who actually mentioned it. Well, somebody who was campaigning for him. Yeah, it says Texas Senator Tom Cruise, and they keep on pushing. Rush was doing that a little bit today, insinuating like it's not going to hold any ground, but they're really pushing, and they're saying that, what do you call it's pushing that too? Trump, saying that Ted Cruz was born in Canada. He was not even born in the U.S. It's like you're really just grasping at straws because Ted Cruz is leading right now. That's the only reason they're doing that. Anyway, it says Texas Senator Ted Cruz has been subjected to a subject of brutal attacks all day as Dr. Ben Carson on Dr. Ben Carson's campaign. Because Ben Carson felt and did blame, as far as I know, I can't, I don't have any proof about it, but from what I've read and heard, he's actually blaming Ted Cruz, that Ted Cruz had taken votes away from him by stating that, that he's dropping out of the race, that Ben Carson's dropping out of the race, which is not true, and he got really mad. So, bottom line, I would be mad too. But the thing was that rumor did not even come from Ted Cruz. It actually came from Marco Rubio, one of his campaign members. So it says Ben Carson has issued a charge against GOP presidential rival Ted Cruz just hours after the Texas senator won the first nation Iowa caucus. I might have said the caucus, but it is caucus. Carson accused Cruz of campaigning Cruz's campaign of deliberately spreading a rumor prior to the caucus that Carson was suspending his campaign. See, that would hurt him, but again, they're stating that it came from Cruz just to hurt him because he was leading, and it was not even from what I heard, it wasn't even true. And I really have a lot of respect for all these men, but this is just, it's like you're attacking your own opponents, and by doing that, you're not doing yourself any favor. It's just going to help the Democrats, in my opinion. So, if they see all these people fighting amongst each other on the Republican side, nobody's going to get elected, or they're going to get, the person who's going to get elected is not going to stand a chance against whoever is probably running on the Democratic side. That's my opinion. So you got to be really careful, and these rumors being spread and everything is not a good thing to do at all. So anyway, I'm getting a call. Let me just take a peek to see what it is. Yeah. On a lighter note, though. Yeah, it was kind of funny. There's this story that, not a story, it's just a video, but, and people who invent things. This is really, really cool. This girl made these wings, and they literally look like they're, part of her body. Like, they look like real bird wings. Almost like one of the superhero things, from like, I want to say the Avengers or whatever. But it looks really cool. This girl invented it, and they actually work. The wings come out. Or even like that new show, Legends of Tomorrow, the two people, like Hawk Girl and everything. She really looks like this girl did a really good job. I mean, the wings actually come out. They look like she could really fly with these wings. But it says the fabulous weird trotters, and it's so cool looking. Alex Norija created a beautiful pair of human-size phenomenonique, or basically these wings for Halloween. They look really cool. I'm just surprised they actually don't work, because they come out like, when a bird, when they spread their wings, when they're like perched, but they spread their wings out because they're ready to launch off. That's what it really looks like. It is the most coolest thing I've ever seen, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, the one story I really wanted to read, because I'm going to have to find her now, was I found this on one of these little side notes that I'd probably be interested in, which I actually was. It was a story from Suggest.com. 19 celebrities have got their start on reality shows. So I saw it right away. They just showed her picture. It was like I knew who it was, which is the girl who plays God, I'm looking for her now because I saw some other ones too. But it was a girl who plays Britney. And I did not notice. I saw her. I was like, oh my God, that's Britney. And it says Heather Morris, So You Think You Can Dance. So that's where she got her start from. Heather Morris is the one who plays Britney, because I didn't know her name before. And she does a really good job, but she was, obviously she did other things before she did the character Britney. So, most known for the hilarious role as Britney on the mega hit Glee, Morris landed that part by performing being a successful backup dancer for the Queen Bey. I guess it's B-A-Y, but I think it's supposed to be Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. Yet she can thank snagging the amazing gig for the first appearance on the second season of So You Can Dance, where she was cut before making the final 20. So, see, that's the thing. A lot of these reality shows, you never think, like, well, you don't hear from these people. Very few of them, which is true, become anybody well-known. But the character, Britney, I mean, she was on that show for all 6 seasons, as far as I know, of Glee, and she was like very well known. I mean, she's as popular as Leah Michele. I mean, probably even more so, and so are the other girls. Don't get me wrong; they were all like very well known people, but Britney definitely stood out, just because she was so unique. No puns intended, because there is a character on that show named Unique, who is a male cross-dresser. And he's stands out very well. And he's a really cool character. But, yeah, Britney was definitely one that, you kind of known and loved. So everybody knows and loves, so to speak. So, but, yeah, because Britney was very, very, very popular on that show. Anyway, I forget where I put it, so I have to pull this up. My friend Todd put this up about this woman, and somebody videotaped her on their camera phone, it looks like, because she was masturbating while she was laying down sunbathing on the beach. Video was from urbanleakagain.com. Video, woman caught masturbating on a public beach when she thought no one could see her. Well, it was kind of obvious, too. How could you defend ever? How could this woman ever defend herself? I will admit, though, I was going to see a BS video, but the woman is blatantly flicking the old bean on the public beach. So it says, imagine jumping in the van with the kids and head into the beach, and here's this woman rubbing one out, a selfie on herself. So they actually do show it, and yeah, it is kind of blatantly obvious what she's doing. Surprisingly, it's, I guess women get as horny as men, just as much, even more so. Yeah, I don't know. I did mention this a little earlier, but yeah, I just pre-ordered again because I pre-ordered it for the Xbox One. I had to cancel it out and reorder it. It was actually cheaper. So originally I got it from Best Buy. It was Doom 4 because it's coming out next month. I already paid for it. I'll get my money back or taken off my credit card. This item will be released once again on May 13th. So, actually May. Released May 13th. So that's actually a couple months away. I thought it was next month. So I apologize about that. I thought it was next month. No, it's not till May 13th. I swore Best Buy said March. Let me see, because if it is, but I'll save money if I wait. Yeah, I pre-ordered a long time ago. Way last year. Yeah, 6/16/2015 was when I originally ordered it. So I got the dates mixed up. So, because they gave me a notice, like, oh, your order's going to be in. I thought they said next month, but I thought it said March. So I'm checking again. Because I don't think they would put it out that far ahead of time. I don't know why they're waiting until May, though. It's going to be a popular game, but that'll be one of the few games I actually do play. Yeah, that's weird because it says we're just here to inform you the release date of the new item, all according to Best Buy, has been updated to Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. So, yeah, but the only thing is going to cost me an extra $10 because it's like $60 on at Best Buy, but then the pre-order release, if you wait March, April, May, it's 2 months later though, so I'll have to think about it. But I got a discount. Prime members only pay $47.99. Discount will be automatically applied to you at checkout. So it's like actually it's $20 cheaper. Yeah, 50, 60. Well, $10 cheaper if you buy it on Amazon. And if you're a Prime member, you get the discount of an extra $10 off. So the thing is, my guess is if the release date was bumped up till March at Best Buy, I'm sure that's going to be across the board. So I'll just keep it, for now. I'll keep it the way it is. So, sorry. Was another thing that was kind of cool was they were showing, but it was ridiculous the price on it. I was saying, wow, this is really cool. It was from Me TV. They put up, memorable entertainment. Put up this thing that was stating that they have these Dawn of Justice action figures, Barbie action figures. They look really cool because they have one for Batman, and it literally looks like Ben Affleck's face on the Barbie doll. So that's going to be like definitely a collector's item. And they made one for Superman and one for Wonder Woman, and it's like because I like collecting those action figure things, and these are like full size Barbie dolls, but these are collector edition ones. But already you can't buy them. They were just put out too. And on Amazon, they're going for like $109. It's like, that's ridiculous. So I looked on eBay, and eBay was actually, I'm not even going to joke about this, eBay was actually selling them for cheaper. It was like, wait a minute, eBay is supposed to be a lot more expensive. Yeah, they were like $60, which is still really expensive for a Barbie doll, but it's a lot better than $109. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And that's for the Batman one. I think alone is the most expensive one because again, it's got literally Ben Affleck's face on the doll itself. So, which makes it more expensive, obviously too. If I find that story in my mix, I'll try to mention some more. If not, I'd just mention it now. Anyway, a friend had sent me this from urbanleak.com. It says Walmart employee knocks out manager before quitting and throwing his name tag, down, I guess, or throwing it on the, but he literally, it's on somebody recorded on their cell phone again. I was looking at it all the way through. It's just like kind of redundant because it's like 2.5 minutes and it's like the longest 2.5 minutes of my life. So I just cut to the chase to the very end. And yeah, this is how Walmart, this guy got pissed off, and he looks like he was talking about, or it sounded like he was talking about cart pushing, and I pushed carts when I worked at Acme years ago. This guy got so mad with his supervisor, he literally floored him, like literally knocked him out on the floor. It says, I don't know what's up with Walmart, but it seems there's always some shit going down. Have you seen this person mad at his boss, this employee mad at his boss, and it shows you the video. So anyway, it basically says, check out the video where you see a man brutally knock out his boss before quitting and throwing his name tag. The throwing of the name tag gave me a little bit of a giggle. So not me, that's what it's saying. I don't know. Honestly, I'd hate to be a supervisor, period. I just think it's, kind of scary. Yeah, I got one story here from Opposing Views. I think I know why I put this one on my list. Brandon Astor Jones, Georgia's oldest death row inmate, is executed. And that was, make sure I get the dates right. It was actually yesterday. This guy, Brandon Astor Jones, the state of Georgia's oldest death row inmate, at 72 years old, was executed on February 3rd. That makes me wonder, how long has he been on death row? His lawyers appealed to block punishment were denied by both the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on the U.S. Supreme Court. Jones was convicted in June, on June 17th of 1979, on the shoot-in murder of Atlanta store manager Roger Tackett. So, yeah. If you want to read the rest, that's just kind of interesting. The man was 72, but how old was he back in 79, though? Because you think about that. I'm going to do a little calculation right now. You got 2016, the man just got executed. And his initial being, basically arrested was 79. That was 37 years ago. So, and he was 72 minus 37. That's a long time on death row. He was 35 years old. He spent pretty much most of his life in jail. Now, my question is, they always say, well, having a person on death row is cheaper than capital punishment. But is that really true? I mean, because this man was he was on death row. But my assumption is if the person, is proven guilty, he's going to die of lethal injection or something else. If you keep him for 30 or 40 years, it's going to be more expensive. But they say it's cheaper just to keep him in prison. And that, to me, doesn't make any sense. I would think they say, oh, well, the cost and everything is so high. It's cheaper just to let him basically rot in jail. It's like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's funny. It's on this picture. There's a picture, actually, this guy's holding up. I guess he's against the capital punishment. It says, two wrongs don't make a right. I don't know, but anyway, that just happened the other day. You don't hear many stories of people getting death row. Oh, and I did find my story from MeTV. Mattel releases new Batman, Wonder Woman, Barbies. As details from the Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice continues to come out, so does merchandise from the upcoming film. Mattel recently released Batman and Wonder Woman dolls from Barbie collection line. The dolls closely resemble Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot, who plays. They really do. They look like the actors, who play Batman and Wonder Woman. They look really like them. I mean, they would be definitely really. If I had the money, I would definitely plunk down some cash on those just to have them, because they are so extremely detailed, because Barbie dolls normally are not that detailed. You got to go with these different companies that make action figures, which generally go up to a couple grand or about $1,000 for these action figures. These are actually, Barbies are meant to be cheap, but these are actually pretty well detailed, at least with the face. You can get the dolls right now on Amazon. The Wonder Woman doll is $89.99, and the Batman doll is $110. Bear in mind that these are not retail prices. Mattel plans to release Superman doll from the film as well. But where do you get them where you're not getting these high prices, though? That's what I want to know. So I said I was going to mention it. Hey, Tom Welland, I haven't talked about him in so many years. I mentioned before he might be doing a cameo in Supergirl. It came up again on comicbookmovie.com. It says Tom Welland talks possible Supergirl cameo, his excitement for Batman versus Superman. Smallville star Tom Welland talks more about his possibility of reprising the role of Superman in Supergirl, and it weighs in on who he is supporting in the awesome-looking Batman versus Superman. Personally, I'm a big Superman fan, but for the Batman versus Superman, I have to say I'm team Ben Affleck, team Batman, because he just looks really cool. Superman, I wasn't impressed with the actor. I really missed Brandon Roth. I thought he did a much better job. I liked him a lot better. He just seemed more suitable for Superman, and Tom Welland did too, because he kind of reminded me, both those guys kind of remind me of Christopher Reeve in some way, but I'm not a big fan of the Superman they have. The guy's a great actor they got, but I just don't see him as Superman. Anyway, it was a funny story. It came up last night, right before I went to bed, I think. I posted it on my Facebook. And it was from my local newspaper, the Times Herald, where it said Montgomery County Sheriff's Department arrests 10 men, 1 woman in an overnight deadbeat sweep. Montgomery County Sheriff's Department most wanted for child support. Yes. 11 people were arrested by the Montgomery County Sheriff's Deputy Wednesday in an overnight sweep operating targeting parents delinquent in child support payments, according to Sheriff Sean Kenley. Now, that's weird. One of them is a woman. You don't hear many times because usually it's the man who has to pay the child support, not the other way around. It says 11 so-called deadbeat parents owned a combined amount of, well, that's a large figure. Well, let me just round it off. It was about $127,000 in child support. Appears for 16 different children, but you're talking about 11 people, too. Sorry, my nose is a little bit stuffed, so I'm not talking very well. So, the woman was from Schwanksville, though. So the other guys are from different parts of the local area. I'm leaving it go with that. My favorite source anymore is Reagan Coalition. Political establishment caught cheating. Caught cheating, stole Iowa caucus from Donald Trump. See, everybody is like nailing Trump and I like Trump a lot. Trump and Ben Carson are both severely attacking, a really good person, Ted Cruz. Like, they're really nailing him to the cross. And I love Rush Limbaugh, but I think he was doing a little bit of that too. So I'm going to let that one go because I apologize. My nose is all stuffed up. Anyway, I got one from the Daily Mail. This one is actually pretty funny. He just got the title alone just speaks for itself. Sorry, something covering up my screen, making sure I'm getting like okay, I'm sounding good. Elderly man who died while having sex is wheeled away by paramedics with, get this, the prostitute still attached to him. So, yeah, the man died while, basically having sex with a prostitute. So they had to put a tarp over the stretcher because the one body was still alive, the prostitute. Bullet points. Men transport alleged dead body. Oh, men, yeah. Allegedly transport a dead body with a woman on top of the hospital stretcher. What a way to go for that guy. Pair of hidden under a blanket, but the woman does appear to be moving. The duo were presumably taken to the hospital to be surgically separated. People can get stuck during sex, a rare occurrence called penis captivitis or something. It says the video that they captured is disturbing. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny too. Sorry, I just have a sick sense of humor. I was trying to look for an age of this guy who died of a heart attack, because you don't have to really be old to have a heart attack. You could be like a younger guy and just have a weak heart, like a heart murmur. Oh, wow. This is funny. I'm just kind of, they're giving reasons why you get stuck if you have your partner dies during having sex, or even if it's a paid partner. Yeah, it says a duo were taken surgically removed from each other. Dying while having sex, although is uncommon, can occur due to strain of the activity. This can lead to a sudden cardiovascular attack, something that is more common in males. People are also able to get stuck together while having intercourse, a rare occurrence known as penis capvitis or something, capvitis. I don't know. It's just funny. Where the vagina muscle clamps down on the penis much more firmly than usual. So you can actually get literally stuck in a woman's penis. That's pretty funny. Who's this woman? Sorry. Had something catch my eye. Wow. Pretty hot, too, I think. Sorry about that. I got distracted. Yeah. Some doctor, says Dr. John Dean, a UK-based sexual physician, previously told the BBC that when the penis is in the vagina, it becomes increasingly engorged. He said that the muscles of the woman's pelvis floor contract rhythmically at the orgasm. While those muscles contract, the penis becomes stuck in further engorge. So, too complicated for me to even read, obviously. Finally, the vaginal muscle relax. When it relaxes, the blood flows out of the penis and the man can withdraw. So, yeah, I guess you can get caught in different ways, I guess, too. He said over the years, several of the patients have been discussed their experience of getting stuck more out of curiosity than because it was a problem, however. One way in which doctors are able to separate people stuck together by giving the woman an injection commonly used to dilate the uterus of a pregnant woman. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So one way they can kind of loosen the jaws of life, so to speak, on the woman's vagina is by putting the same thing they would give to a woman who is trying to give birth. It is not known what happens to this particular lady, the woman who got just recently, who was a prostitute, but how she was later separated. However, oh no, it just says however. I'm sorry. I thought there was more to it, so I just read it as there's more to this, but there really wasn't. Yeah, so, that was kind of a funny story. I just had to read. The one that, I got distracted by was, because I haven't heard of him on the news for a while, was Phil Collins. It's something about a wife or something. So I just lost that, too. They even have a story on OJ. Yeah, I don't know if I'll post this or not. It basically was on the Daily Mail, though, and it says picture exclusive Phil Collins, disabled third wife, Orion or something, steps out in Miami as she is seen for the first time since the musician confirmed their reunion after a record-breaking divorce. She's not bad looking either, but yeah, I didn't realize he was married to more than once, Phil Collins. I know he has some, I've heard he had some children, and I know that Phil Collins is going to be making a comeback. I don't know if he's doing a solo act or if he's actually coming back, with Genesis, because technically, really, Genesis, the original lead vocalist for Genesis was not Phil Collins. It was actually Peter Gabriel. So, as my nose is so clogged. I got to look at this real quick. Oh, yeah, I actually did like this. I got even more of an appreciation for Whoopi Goldberg, believe it or not. I mean, I might get ridiculed for this. But it was on downtread.com. Everybody relax. Whoopi Goldberg has finally decided what you're supposed to call black people. She is a really good entertainer. She's done a lot of different film work and TV shows, talk shows. She was actually in Philly last year, and I never bothered to go get in line to get her autographs just because it was so fucking crazy. But again, I just got a lot of respect for the woman now, because she basically says, hey, she's been around for many years. I don't know exactly her age. I could look that up. But she said over the years, I've been called everything from, American, like she uses the word, let me see. Let me get into this. In case you're wanting an appropriate word to describe African Americans, you'll be happy to know that Whoopi Goldberg, who some people still consider to be relevant, has issued a ruling on the matter. I'm just looking at her apart, like the names. She said she's heard over the years. She basically, in a quote from Whoopi Goldberg, she said, "I went from being Keller to being a Negro to being black to an African American," she said. "I figured that I would land on American." So, bottom line, you go all the way to the bottom of the story. Her last words, were, and it was like, I really definitely have a lot of respect for her for saying this, because she's on the, the talk show too, The View. She basically just puts her last phrase is, well, I am a whole lot of all American. So there you have it. Just call black people Americans. And, her just saying that just makes me put her on a pedestal that, and this other lady said the same thing. She got really reamed too, that some people that are, women that are black, they don't want to be called black. They don't want to be called African Americans. They just want to be called Americans. And it was like, I sent it to a friend earlier today. And so Whoopi Goldberg, hey, I love you for that. I really do. I'm not even just saying it. I really do appreciate you. Not even just appreciate. I respect you for saying that. I really do. Yeah, I can't find it now, but I sent it to my friend Paul. Paul and my friend Todd, they're brothers. But there was a woman, she's an actress, she's really hot looking too. And I don't know if she's black or whatever, but she looks, I don't know. But she even said the same thing. She just thinks it's ridiculous with this whole, about, the blacks are being victimized, or the blacks got to be called blacks, or the blacks need to get awards for the award ceremonies. And it's just like, it's all just ridiculous. But yeah, I really got a lot of respect for Whoopi. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, just on a side note, there's something I put on my Facebook page. It was called the Red Band trailer for this movie called Green Room. And it's a horror film where this band can't get any gigs. It's a real movie, too, coming out. So they go to this desolated area where they perform for a bunch of neo-Nazis, and it turns really dark and nasty. So it's like one of those, I would say, like American History X type films, is my opinion. I don't know, but the Red Band trailer shows you that it's pretty disturbing movie. Alrighty, this is getting on my nerves. I got to look at this too because this girl's so cute. Little kid. Not in the way I'm saying she's a cute kid. She's like 12 years old. This poor kid, though, she's from India. This story, I just got to get it out of the way. And I felt really bad. Adorable little kid. Indian girl, from India, has 1,000 giant ants removed from her ears after the insects got inside and began breeding, with 10 emergencies every day. Like, they kept on pulling them out. They even tried to flood the ants, like try to drown the ants so they would, like, stop breeding in her ear. Well, guess what they did? They bred even more. So there's a couple sources. This one actually had pictures of what the little girl looks like, because all you see was the inside of her ear. Felt really bad. The 12-year-old girl who has had more than 1,000 giant ants removed from her ears after the doctor finds them nesting in the drum canal. That poor kid. She's from Western India. Has around 10 live ants crawling out of her ear daily. I don't know how they even got in there. But I truly felt bad. And, my heart just wanted to, I was heartbroken after I saw, because they just show the inside of her ear at first, and then they show what this little kid looks like. It's like, okay, now it's got me depressed. So I knocked 2 stories out of my list, so I don't have to worry about it now. And I lost my train of thought. So I lost my train of thought. Another heartbreaking story, maybe I should read that now, is from Christopher Morbid Lee from today. Because it was in Covington, Georgia, and I was there. I know Covington, the people are very nice people down in Covington, to say the least. They're extremely nice people, and it was a story from Covington, Georgia today that was posted. A 5-year-old Andrea DeBruhal died while playing on school monkey bars. Now, they said there were 10 teachers watching these kids play in the playground. The girl was, found dead, I think they said, again, on these monkey bars, whatever. Yeah, monkey bars. And she died of asphyxiation. This poor little kid. And they're saying they're not charging anybody on negligence, but it's like, well, you've had 10 teachers. I know you might have a lot of kids, but how did this child get herself in that predicament that she ended up, strangling herself or whatever? She died of asphyxiation, which means she died from not being able to breathe. So they did an autopsy. That's how they figured that out on this little kid. She's so adorable. But yeah, that really got to me, because a couple of years ago I was down in Covington, Georgia, so I know the people, they're very friendly, I'll tell you that much. There's not many you are going to find. There is some that are not friendly, but most of them really are. Sorry about that. Yeah, this one was a little bit disturbing. It was on Daily Mail. I'm trying to look for another one. Never seen before video shows a bloodied Colonel, I guess, Gaddafi. Is it Colonel or Colonial? I think it's Colonel. Anyway, Gaddafi begging for his life moments before his execution by the Libyan rebels. Now, I mean, you're talking like this Gaddafi was truly an evil person, but when you watch this video, how they literally beat him to a pulp, his head, like smash it in almost, it just seems ruthless. I mean, I know this man was horrible, and the stuff he did really repressed probably these people, but I don't know. I can't bear to even look. The video is very disturbing. It was on Daily Mail. Footage captured on a mobile by a fighter who dragged the dictator from drain shows frenzied scenes of Gaddafi is mobbed by gunmen on a truck bonnet. He is heard pleading for his life moments before he is basically executed. Rebels say he deserved it. People got carried away, though, in the stampede. Now, I don't know. I'm looking at this, and it just looks horrendous. I mean, yeah, this man was obviously, he was a very evil person, but I don't know. This is one time I'd have to say, I don't really particularly favor an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I kind of can't see that. To me, it just seems inhumane. I mean, I don't know. Is that the Christian side of me talking? Probably is, but either way, I thought that was just wrong. I mean, this man's going to pay either way, but does that give us the right, or these people the right to do what they did to that man? I mean, it just seems like you're no better than he was by doing that to him. Yeah, one thing I saw that this was really disturbing, it was on ReaganCoalition.com, was Obama visits a radical Mazik or something and drops 5-word bombshell that will give you chills. It's like one of these Muslims in the U.S., though. In a more shocked dismay and angered many Americans, President Barack Obama made his first official visit to a peaceful Islamic mosque. That's the way you say it, mosque, on U.S. soil Wednesday. According to WDSU, Obama traveled outside the D.C. Beltway to pay a visit to the Islamic Society of Baltimore, where he delivered a speech to the gathered attendees. Quote, Muslim Americans keep us safe. That's was stated by our lovely President Barack Obama. He actually said that. And it's like, you know what? That's, with everything going on, I can't believe that man would actually say that. That just, to me, kind of, it does convince me he's actually, he is probably a Muslim himself. And he's just in denial of, he's not going to say it because he'd really lose respect for a lot of Americans that way. Because, Americans are based on other religions besides the belief in the Quran. And I think he actually does follow that. He preaches, though, not practices, but he preaches that he, is Christian or whatever, but he really obviously is not. Yeah, a lot of people, I found this, it's just basically a title, caption picture of Michelle Obama from Clash Daily with Doug Giles, but it says, question, Michelle says white people are what's wrong with America. Do you agree? So that's what it says. And it is like literally asking us. She believes, Michelle Obama says, white people are what's wrong with America, not anything else. It's the white people. So there you go. This is from our First Lady. She says that it's the white people that are the problem in the U.S. and probably in the world. It's nothing else. It's the white people. Now, isn't that kind of considered harassment or not even harassment? I can't even think of the right word. You know, that's definitely hypocritical, to say the least. By the way, this one was really interesting. I got to slip this in here, too, from the Dreamin' Demon. A registered sex offender caught performing sex act on a 3-year-old girl. This was in St. Petersburg, Florida. Isn't that interesting? Police have arrested a 50-year-old Bernard Jones after his girlfriend caught him performing a sex act on a 3-year-old on her 3-year-old daughter. It says the incident happened just before midnight last Tuesday when a woman walked into her daughter's bedroom and caught her boyfriend, Jones, performing sex on her daughter. The woman yelled for her teenage son, who helped his mother take Jones to the ground. Jones managed to break free after biting the teen, and he fled the scene. The mother called police, who would find Jones in a nearby home. Jones was arrested and charged on capital sexual battery, lewd and like lascivious, whatever, molestation of a child under the age of 12, and aggravated battery. Yeah, so I'm trying to see where I left off because there's actually more that this is interesting. I mean, that I was going to let it go at that. This is just This is just a par for the course for Jones, a registered sex offender who has already shown that he should have been put. Well, it says put in the ground a long time ago. So they're basically saying this man should have been basically killed a long time ago. He was arrested in 1990 for entering the bedroom window of a 10-year-old girl and sexually assaulted her. Then in 2001, he was convicted of sexual battery against a child under the age of 12 and kidnapping. When he appeared in court yesterday, Judge Philip Federico set his bond, at $1.1 million, citing his past history. Personally, I feel anyone caught sexually assaulting a child should repay their debt to society by being sent to, this is what it says, any one of these 6 locations. But they don't give the 6 locations. That's the thing I want to know. But it is highlighted the push. So let's see what these 6 locations are, if they do give them. Since you actually told another link of another not very good story, these 6 body farms help forensics anthropologists learn to solve crimes. Oh, that's pretty funny. Send them to like one of these forensic things where they basically, the students learning forensics, how to become a forensics detective, whatever. Basically work on, just how to reconstruct decomposed bodies. And that's what this person from Dreamin' Demon said that guy should be sent, basically as a subject. That's pretty funny, actually. Oh, yeah, another one shot at Obama, by the way, from ReaganCoalition.com. Obama ordered phrase under God to be banned on all government property. That is no joke, by the way. So there you go. There's another thing. In fury of executive orders signed by President Barack Obama this week, one order will edit the Pledge of Allegiance to remove the phrase "under God." So there you go. For several years, atheists and Muslim activists have put pressure on the White House to move, citing religious freedom regulations. This order will help ensure religious diversity, the president said in the press release Saturday. I'm not going to read anymore because that's just really depressing now. But yeah, now again, it's just him favoring every other, basically other religions other than Christianity. Probably, I'm sure, given the chance, it would also exclude any type of person who was even Jewish as well. I mean, just give it time. I mean, a man's going towards that direction, isn't he? So, that just being said, that's really, so you can't use the word "under God" because it's offensive to Muslims, even though this country was discovered by, on the Christian belief, by pilgrims, maybe, what do you call it, other people who believe in God, maybe definitely not altogether Christians. It could also be Protestants and, other religious beliefs. But the bottom line is this country was set up for the sole purpose that you could practice your religion, but our country was founded on other religions that excluded, at the time of this country being found, that definitely excluded the religion of Muslims. So now, though, they basically dictate to us what they feel we should be practicing, which would be like, obviously, in schools, that children should learn the mosque and, ridiculous things like that. So, it upsets me that, we live in such a, disturbing country that has been definitely transformed, to say the least, by one man, and he's gotten away with it because people are too afraid to touch him because of his ethnicity, basically, that they're afraid to touch him. That's really sad. Let's see if there's anything else. So now you can't even use the phrase "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, or even mention the word, because that gets found offensive. Not even joking. Anyway, I think this is for a new reality show. My next story, Daily Mail. What happens when you give benefits, clients, their, basically benefit clients their annual £26,000 a year in one go? TV experiment shows families drinking champagne and throwing $10 notes. £10 notes in the air, but will the money run out? Well, probably, obviously, they're hey, you give people the money all up front, you would think they would try to, okay, maybe I should invest this or put it aside. No, they actually spend it all at one time, apparently. The big benefits handout will see 3 families given £26,000 in cash each. Some experts claim large handouts are more effective than weekly benefits. I find that hard to believe. It's like the people who win the lottery, but these people, this is like their income for the whole entire year for their country, what they get in benefits. So, it's like for them, it's not even that much money. £26,000 in cash is not that much money. Some experts claim the large handouts are more effective. Again, weekly benefits. I know I just read that beforehand. But the show has ignited claims of explosive poverty porn and encourage and benefits culture. Producers admit the documentary is a massive risk, but insist it is sensitive. There's a video on this one. I mean, these are people that are literally welfare recipients, and they're given the money they're supposed to get for the entire year in one lump sum. So, yeah, it's just, excuse me, human nature that it's going to be, it's just human nature that if you're given a large sum of money, I mean, just, and just, again, just being a person, you're going to end up spending it all. I mean, that's just a fact. You would hope that the fact that it's a whole family, and and these people have children that are living on poverty, but yet they're given their money for the year. Honestly, you would hope they would actually be responsible enough to kind of put their money in the bank or something. Maybe make some interest off getting this money up front. Probably wouldn't be quite enough. They could probably do that, though. Maybe invest it if they were smart. But then you can't touch it, and this is money they have to live off of. I was going to say they can invest it in a money market, but my guess is you're not going to get that dividends right away, because you can, say you got X amount of dollars. You could always, then, $26,000 is not going to give you that much. You're not going to get much off of that. And plus, if that's what you're using to live off of, it's not going to be enough. That's where there's a story I have to post. It's on Kevin Smith's daughter on the UK Daily Mail. I was curious what it's about. But yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. My thing is, it's just all the way around. That's a bad idea. Again, it's just going to make them tempted to spend it all. But in the same note, even if they do invest it, they're not going to make enough money to make it worth their while. So, but the only thing you can probably do is just put it out in the bank, and then whatever your income would be for that month, just divide it up between 52 weeks and live off of that, and while the rest is sitting in the bank. Anyway, I have to, because I think she's adorable. I love Kevin Smith's daughter. She's really cute for a little kid. She's now 16. Harley Quinn Smith, the 16-year-old daughter of actor-director Kevin Smith, said that she was standing outside of a Starbucks in Brentwood, California, waiting for her Uber when two men in a large beige car pulled up beside her and told her to get into their car. That's kind of scary. Smith, pictured here with her dad, said that the men had an Uber sign in the front window and told her to get in the car. She refused because the men wouldn't tell her who the car was for. So that's pretty scary for her. Anyway, fake Uber drivers tried to kidnap Kevin Smith's 16-year-old daughter in Los Angeles. Yeah, that's pretty scary. The poor kid. Harley Quinn Smith said she was standing outside a Starbucks in Brentwood, California when the incident occurred. These are the bullet points, by the way. She said when she was waiting for the Uber, when two men pulled up beside her, they had an Uber window sign and told her to get in the car. Smith said she refused, though, because to get in the car because the men wouldn't tell her who the car was for. She wrote an account of what happened on her Instagram, telling others to keep a lookout for the men. It says after the traumatizing incident, Smith's father comforted her with a cake that had "Sorry Men Suck" written on the side in the frosting. It's pretty funny. Harley Quinn Smith is the daughter of the actor director Kevin Smith, 45, and his wife, former USA Today journalist Jennifer Schulbach Smith, 44. Yeah, she's really blossomed from when she was much younger, though. I'm really looking forward to that film with Yoga Hosers with her in there. It looks pretty interesting. Yeah, it was a story I put up, and actually, I don't know how to put it, but I was actually kind of like relieved to see this is happening. They're trying to downplay because these guys are like convicted criminals, but it kind of reminds me, I hate to say it, I'll read the story in a minute, of the Suicide Squad. That's what these guys remind me of. And it says, Defend Finland. Daily Mail article, it says, exclusive Nazi daggers, SS hats, and hangman's noose on night patrol with the soldiers of Aden. Neo-Nazi-led vigilance vowing to keep Europe's women safe from the migrant sex attacks. Well, you know what? No offense. This was bound to happen. You're going to get some, because we have in the U.S., I don't know if they still exist, the guardian angel, I forget what you call them in the U.S., hardcore people that basically look out for civilian lives, in the U.S. So this is like equivalent to that, in my opinion. It says, though, the bullet points are the notorious Finland-based group of soldiers. The soldiers of Aden is at the forefront of a fierce vigilant movement sweep in Europe. It says Mail Online gained exclusive access to the anti-migrant group patrols and its secretive Nazi-themed headquarters. I mean, no offense, but even when there was the real Nazi regime going on, the Third Reich, the reason that had taken off and became so big was because Germany was severely in a bad state of mind. I mean, it was just in a severe depression, and they felt like they were, backed up against a wall. The people from Germany, they were beyond, poverty stricken. This time it's with these migrants just taking over their countries, because it's not just Germany. And, you're going to have retaliation of some sort, and that's what this is. So, maybe this is going to be a repeat of history. What's going to rise from this migrant takeover are these people that are going to rebel. I hope they do, too. I found that actually being very, a good thing, in my opinion. Founded by the self-confessed violent neo-Nazi, Oldens are, I'm sorry, I think that's the way you say it. It looks like Oldens, because I forget how I pronounced it before. I don't think I pronounced it right either way. Are one of the increased numbers of anti-migrant groups. I didn't mention that before. These vigilants claim the police can't control migrants by themselves, following spats of sex attacks that shocked Europe. So, you know what? I'm all for it. I really am. I mean, it sounds horrible, but maybe they're kind of, maybe they're doing a better job than what's going on, because the only thing about any type of political law enforcement, I just said it, law, it's about being politically correct, what you can and cannot do. Well, these people don't stand for any of that stuff. They're like the Donald Trumps of being on the opposite side of the law and doing what the law should be doing in the first place. So, wow. I got to read this story, and I hope I don't lose it. Anyway, I got this story it's from Plymouth Meeting. I might have mentioned this before, and try to go in a little bit. It was a robbery, and it was right down at one of these places, these gas stations. And we have one or two around us because it's right here in Norristown. But it was Plymouth Township are asking for public help in identifying a male suspect who was caught on video Tuesday as he robbed a gas station in the township. He's considered armed and dangerous. According to police, it says it was there's gas stations called American Gas Line. It's like, again, I know where the one is around us, and this one is probably the same one. Anyway, it says people say a male suspect showed a handgun and ordered the clerk at the American Gas Line store located at 1401 East Ridge Pike in Plymouth Township to open the cash register. According to the police, the male suspect ordered the clerk to step back from the register as he took the cash and fled into the alley between Farfield Road and Lucetta Street. So it's just really scary. Anyway, anyone with any information identifying a suspect is asked to call 911 or contact Plymouth Township Police Department at 610-279-1901. Now, I'm going to take a good look at this guy right now again because this guy has a gun, and he does look a little bit dangerous. I'm going to definitely call the police if I see him because he's in my area. This is a little bit of a heartwarming story from ReaganCoalition.com. Cop sees something familiar on homeless man, then realizes what he has. Bottom line, I read that story. Basically what it is, this homeless man had no shoes. So the cop actually, he was soliciting this, or whatever you call it, this homeless man around this gas station, which kind of bothered people. So the cop came to investigate and realized the homeless man had no shoes. So he actually does give the man a pair of shoes, and he puts it on this poor old man who's homeless. So again, I said it was a heartwarming story for a change from Reagan Coalition. Sometimes my stories are a little bit negative. This one I wanted to open up with, this story here, and I did not because it's so freaking funny. And it's on YouTube, by the way. And it's titled, Muslim Man Falls in Love with Blonde Mannequin. And it's in parentheses, dummy. He's like literally fondling, like he's groping the breast on a mannequin. Like he's really getting into it. Now I'm watching it right now, and he's actually making out with the mannequin too. He's like actually, caressing her breast. It's in front of a jewelry store. I'm looking at it right now, and he's like making out with her. He's like with a mannequin. I think it's pretty funny. So I was going to open up with that one because I just thought it was so hilarious. Like he's having a romantic relationship with a mannequin. So I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, there was some other stories I have. Joe the plumber, I haven't said any stories from him in a long time. Syrian mobs surround teen girls at swimming pool and what they do next. That's actually an old story. I did read that one before. But yeah, you hear these stories. This one, again, I've already read a couple about a week or so ago, maybe. Yeah, it says 3 young Muslim thugs surround 2 teenage girls at a swimming pool in Germany. Things begin to get really bad. See, this is reason, though, why you got this uprise now on these neo-Nazis in Germany and in Finland because of cases like this. These 3 it says 3 Syrian teenagers were arrested, one for rape and one for assault when they surrounded and attacked an innocent teenage girl in Munch. So... And again, I read that story before. See, people are getting fed up with this stuff. They really are. And there you go again. This is why, I feel more safe knowing that there's more than just protesters. There's actually people that are seriously retaliating against these monsters. And I have nothing. I have I don't find anything wrong about that. I really don't. Lighter story again. Show 2 Muslims that were males ready to kiss. And, that's prohibited because they would get executed if they were homosexual. Anyway, the story I was going to read was Holy Crab, it says. Stunning holiday snap shows fearless tourists holding a monstrous crustacean or whatever that feasts on rats and cracks a coconut with its powerful claws. These are like monster size. Literally, they're real. Monster size crabs. They're called, I think they're called pineapple crabs or something. Fearless holidaymaker Mark Perot picked up a coconut crab, so it was right, I think, and posed for a photo in the Christmas Island jungle. Weighing up to 9 pounds and measuring 3 feet in length, the alien-like crustacean is the largest living crab in the world. Yeah, they were at like 3 feet across, so that's like a yard across. Threatened by hunters, the coconut crab's meat is considered a delicacy, and aristocrats on some islands. To me, they look kind of scary. Like the guy actually picks one up with his hands. I would be afraid they would because they're crabs, but they're huge crabs. They actually must look like those microscopic crabs more so, but they're 3 feet across, and they basically dwell on coconut trees. So, on Christmas Island. So there is an island actually called Christmas Island. These things actually look very scary. Maybe because since they are so massively big, they're probably, I'm assuming they're kind of harmless. I don't know. To me, they don't look harmless. They kind of look very scary, to say the least. Make good creatures, even because they are real too. They make good things for a horror movie. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if I read this. Obama visits. Yeah, I think I did. It was the one visits that mosque. Oh yeah, I did. And how he says, Muslim Americans keep us safe. Yeah, if you believe that one. I hope he's the first one to go if there's an internal attack. I think he would deserve him right. I don't know if I read this. I've been wanting to read this, at least if I haven't. But it was on ReaganCoalition.com as well. Old man attacked by Muslims for protecting a young girl. And there's a video adjoined to it, or attached to it. Let's see if I can just get it resurfaced so I can kind of get an idea. Remember when President Obama called Islam a religion of peace? That's what it's saying. Well, it basically says we're wondering where he was looking, because I don't mean him to laugh about this, because what we are seeing throughout the world is an escalation of violence at the hands of Muslim extremists and Syrian refugees. Cases of reported rapes are at an all-time high in countries like Sweden. Women are being attacked on the streets, and if you come to their defense, you better be ready to be a target of violence yourself. So that is made loud and clear in the footage of a group of Muslim men who have attacked an older gentleman on the subway after he decided to do the right thing and help a young girl who's being molested. Watch the video below and see and tell us what you think. Do you think these thugs like these need to see justice? So there is a video on what I try to read, and yeah, these Muslims had tried to molest a young young girl, and some man on this subway. It's from some subway. They don't exactly say where. Obviously, it was in the U.S. because they said about Obama. He tried to defend the poor girl, this older man, and he ended up getting brutally attacked by these Muslims for doing so. So there you go. Yeah, I might have read this, the one on Gaddafi. I had that. I finally got to it. I had it buried so deep. Now, this was another story I was going to put towards the top. I'll leave this as the last one. This is really heart-wrenching. I think I mentioned it in passing. Grocery store worker dies after she gets pulled into an industrial mixer. This was on Dream and Demon. Salt Lake, Utah, a 45-year-old employee at Rames food store was just killed yesterday morning after she was pulled into an industrial mixer. That poor lady, though, what a way to go. Investigators say that Carmen, or Jackie Lambert, was using an industrial-sized bakery mixer machine inside the store when she was caught up by the machinery. They said, the arguers said Sandy Police Sergeant Dean Carrier. It was possible some loose clothing, or she might have been reached in to the machine for an unknown reason and had gotten caught, said Carrier. We are trying to determine the exact cause at this point. Now, the thing is, like, when you work with that equipment, especially if it's a mixer, I'm sure she had an apron on, and some of this stuff that we do call it work, PPE, protective gear or whatever, some of that stuff is actually, because this happened to me, makes you more in danger of getting hurt than actually doing what it's supposed to be do. You wear protective gear, for, to protect yourself and other, what you're working on your products. But sometimes that stuff does not actually help. It actually hinders you on your job and can actually, get you hurt more seriously. And in this case, if I'm right, the end result, this woman got killed. Regardless of how she was pulled into the machine, a coworker heard her screams and immediately shut off the mixer. Unfortunately, it was too late for Linhart and the mother of one, who was pronounced dead at the scene. See, that's the other thing. They should have, if certain things get drug into, because there is, these automatic safety mechanisms if you get caught machinery, but obviously this stuff did not have any safety setting on this mixer. We have reported on a slew of horrific ways people have died while doing their jobs, including getting pulled into a wood chipper, suffocating inside a cryo chamber, cooked inside an industrial tuna steamer, drowning in cow shit. It says pianto beans or chocolate being chewed up inside a meat grinder, or getting stuck inside industrial dryers, flattened by a paper roller machine. I never read that one. And drying from exploding beer kegs. Dying from exploding beer kegs. So this was one more way that somebody had died. It's just a shame that obviously some of this machinery is not up to par on OSHA requirements, I would think. And two, like I said, some of this protective gear you wear is not always that good either. So, sorry, I'm looking for maybe last-minute stories. I always find one or two. So, I had to send this one because it's really funny to a friend. Some little GIF. Yeah, I guess somebody liked my story on the neo-Nazis, my friend Todd. So anyway, everyone, I try to make it an interesting thing, not try to screw up too much, even though I constantly do. So I apologize, but hopefully I was able to keep everybody's attention. I hope you enjoyed my show, and I am signing off for now. So thanks again if you're listening. If you're not, try to get other people to listen. And I always appreciate the people from France, because that was going up for a while there. Of course, that's just because my statistics in the U.S. were going way down. And, which obviously, they make 100%. It's going to make one look like it's more. Sorry about that in listener base, but it really isn't. It's about the same. It's actually less, no matter how you look at it. I mean, I could have one person listen or two people listening as opposed to four people, and it's going to still have to average out what 100% is on that geographical listener base. So anyway, thanks for listening again. Signing off for now. Enjoy your afternoon. I'm going to try to enjoy mine at this point, and thanks again. Walter from iWalter signing off.